This video will be all about the Hierophant Bio-Titan and the noted battles it had in the grim dark galaxy with extracts from novels and codices, which showed just how powerful it was. So it is officially designated as Tyranicus giganticus. It is the Tyranid's answer to the massive war machines employed by the Imperium of Man, the Imperial Titans, the God Engines. These monstrous creatures are bred for major planetary invasions, where their primary role is to lead Tyranid assaults and break through heavily fortified positions. They are not deployed lightly. When a Hierophant appears on the battlefield, it is usually a signal that a Hive Mind is going all in, launching a full-scale planetary takeover. So towering at an average height of 13.45 meters or even more, and weighing approximately 51 tons, the Hierophant is a beast of unimaginable size and strength. Its body is a grotesque mix of organic and biomechanical adaptations, covered in thick, chitinous armor plates that protect it from heavy weaponry. This plating isn't just armor though, it is also alive, oozing poisonous spores from cracks and wounds. These spores drift around the Bio-Titan, forming a toxic cloud that can suffocate and burn the lungs of anyone unfortunate enough to be nearby without proper protection. Beneath this chitinous armor are living lash whips, which are tendrils that function as sentient ropes of muscle and sinew, ready to tangle, bind, and crush anything that dares to get too close. So its role in a Tyranid invasion is to act as a living battering ram, drawing the brunt of the enemy fire and protecting the swarms of smaller bioforms advancing behind it. In battle, it spearheads the assault, crashing into enemy lines with overwhelming force. It is armed with two massive biocannons, which are symbiotic weapons that work by triggering an electrochemical reaction within the creature's body. When fired, these cannons unleash a storm of corrosive, maggot-like organisms that splatter upon impact, releasing a cocktail of bioacid and venom. They can also shoot bioplasma. This toxic slurry is potent enough to dissolve ferrocrete and plasteel within seconds, reducing vehicles, buildings, and unfortunate soldiers to steaming piles of molten goo. But the Hierophant isn't just about ranged firepower. For close combat, it has immense claws that can be adapted into various forms, like giant razor-sharp scythes or crushing talons that can rip through armored vehicles. Hierophants have also been seen or observed evolving new weapons and adaptations mid-battle, which is a testament to the Hive Mind's relentless drive for optimization and destruction. These Bio-Titans are unique, and they are a rare strain within the Tyranid forces, with no known evolutionary precursor that the Imperium can fully trace or that the biologists can study, which leaves their origins and genetic development an unsolved mystery. Also, when the Hierophant leads an assault, it often charges forward alongside a tide of lesser Tyranids, like termagants and carnifexes, which creates a wall of chitin, claws, and death. These creatures pour out from the shadows of the Hierophant, using the gigantic Bio-Titan as a living cover against enemy fire. Then the Hierophant's size, resilience, and heavy weaponry allows it to endure and push through even the most fortified positions, clearing the way for the rest of the swarm to overrun enemy defenses. Facing a Hierophant in battle is no small feat. It requires heavy ordnance and powerful artillery just to bring it down, let alone deal with a host of Tyranids advancing alongside it. The Shield of Baal series tells the story of the Blood Angels fighting to protect their homeworld, Baal, from Hive Fleet Leviathan's invasion in the year 999 of M41. It is a collection of campaign supplements, novellas, and short stories. The series also cover the story within Shield of Baal Exterminatus, where the Blood Angels, led by Chapter Master Dante, make their final stand in the Cryptus system. They are joined by the Adeptus Sororitas, the Imperial Guard, and even the Necrons. And coming up is a description of the Hierophant battling it out in the story. The Bio-Titan turned its beady eyes upon the newcomer and launched a withering salvo of bio-shells. The Khitan barely seemed to react as the ordnance burst fire. Dante ordered his men to hold their positions as the two nightmare creatures fought. The commander had limited faith in his Necron allies, but had none in the creation of flame that he now beheld. Flesh and fire rampage across the ruins, the staggering strength of the Bio-Titan pitted against the reality-bending will of the Khitan. Even as the two giants fought to the death, the battle continued to rage around them. Dante's Blood Angels, now in control of the Fabricator's Gate and the bridge to the Cogitator Spires, held their ground against waves of weapon beasts and bioordnance. On the far side of the lake, the Necrons were equally pressed. The Anraker stood atop a pile of dismembered alien corpses, his crackling war scythe grappled with two skeletal fists. Then, with a final mournful hiss, the Hierophant pitched forward into the rubble. As it tried to rise, the Khitan thrust a burning hand into its cracked and dripping carapace. Steam began to pour from the creature's wounds as the Star God cooked it from within. Then it exploded in a shower of smoking ichor. In moments, the Baal had turned back in the Allies' favor. With the Bio-Titan down, the Blood Angels surged forward into the Tyranids' inner defenses, while the Necrons turned their firepower on the surviving weapon beasts. The Khitan shot, meanwhile, ascended into the nest of capillary towers on a pillar of fire, tearing into them with burning fists. There is another description of a battle with a Hierophant, and this is from part of the Forges of Mars omnibus. Here the Princeps had a flashback of a battle with a Hierophant while training on the Speranza. In the midst of the training session aboard the Speranza, Koskinen and Hydrith found themselves in a tense situation. Hydrith shouted at Koskinen to stop one of the limbs from moving, to which Koskinen, drenched in sweat, replied that he was doing his best. Hydrith pushed him to try harder, insisting that it might be their only way to avoid a disaster. As Lupa Capitalina took forward another step, Koskinen scanned through the canopy and saw Canis Ulfrica looming large. His control panel was overloaded with too many firing solutions to dismiss, but something else caught his attention, a positive lock on a ship he instantly recognized from the Baal at Sulphur Canyon, a Tyranid Bio-Titan that had nearly bested them in that final desperate clash. Koskinen felt the heat envelop his fist as he muttered a prayer, "Omnisire, forgive us." With confirmation on the lock, he heard a call to spike the muscle actuators, but it was too late. In a flash, Lupa Capitalina's plasma destructor fired off, releasing the power of a heart of a star straight into one of their own Titans. So even though they were in training in the Speranza, it showed that in the time before that, they were in a battle in Sulphur Canyon against one of these Bio-Titans, and it nearly killed them. It nearly destroyed even a warlord Titan called Lupa Capitalina, which tells us just how destructive and dangerous a Hierophant is. Then next, there is also a story of the loss of Legio Annihilator, one of the Titan legions that stayed loyal to the Imperium during the Horus Heresy and even fought up to the First War for Armageddon. But in the Tyranids Codex 5th edition, we see them in a brutal fight for survival around the year 995 of M41 on the world of Megaira. Back then, High Fleet Jormungandr had launched an invasion, and initially, the Legion was holding their own pretty well. Their Titans were cutting down waves of advancing Termagants and even cutting through the tougher Carnifexes. But just as the Princeps were starting to think that they had this fight under control, something far worse appeared. Then a monstrous Tyranid, huge and terrifying, emerged from the swarm. It looked like a Trigon, but was way bigger, almost the size of a Reaver Titan. Its fangs dripped with acidic venom, and it moved with a terrifying speed that the Imperial Titans couldn't match. Without much effort, the creature ripped through one of the Warlord Titans, tearing it apart, leaving it in pieces. It then turned its fury on the rest of the war engines, using its agility to outmaneuver them. The Legio Annihilator tried to hold their ground, but against this massive Bio-Titan, they just couldn't keep up. In the end, the world of Megaira was lost, and the fate of the Legion after that battle remains a mystery. It was only the heavy weapons or ordnance of the Basilica Mechanicus that finally killed the rampaging beasts, and even then, the monster tore a hole through the Basilica's wall, sending in swarms of rippers into the complex and thus sealing the fate of the Forge World. And now we have the Hierophant here in the game Space Marine 2 as part of the Tyranid invasion of the Kadaku sector. The upcoming season's highlight is Operation Termination, where your 3-man squad returns to the planet Kadaku, now overrun by the Tyranids. This colossal Hierophant Bio-Titan is rampaging through the battlefield, crushing everything in its path. And for those seeking an even greater challenge, prove your loyalty to the Emperor in this brand new lethal difficulty mode. The trick is to line up a clear shot on the Hierophant, aim your pistol at his carapace, kind of like a laser tracker, and then keep up the trigger until the heavy last cannons start firing. You've got about 3 volleys to work with, so make everyone count. Be ready, the Hierophant will unleash an artillery barrage on the fortress as soon as you hit. So that's all we have on the Hierophant Bio-Titan. If you like this video, then watch this other one too, and if you want to browse for other sci-fi and Warhammer content, then check out our channel. So subscribe, like for support, and while you're at it, bang on the bell icon for notifications on new video uploads. Till the next time, take care, boys.